Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my rant on the 2022 action thriller Pursuit. Now, before I get around to sharing more of my thoughts on this film, I want to give a special shout out to Daniel for requesting this review. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to my PayPal. The link will be in the video description down below. And I'll try to get to it as soon as I possibly can. Now, Pursuit is one of those dime a dozen, bottom of the barrel, made for dirt cheap, direct to streaming piles of crap that you forget about immediately after the film is over. It's really one of those common type of cheap jack horse shit direct to video action movies that would have stained and stunk up your local Blockbuster back in the day. It's directed by Brian Skiba, who also wrote the film along with like 3 other writers. I don't know how the hell or why this film needed 3 writers to write a film that barely has a cohesive plot, ultimately feels pointless by the end of the running time, and does an absolute terrible job creating likable, engaging characters that you want to root for, let alone want to keep watching the movie just to see what happens to them. But yeah, there's 4 writers. Brian is one of them. Another one is Andrew Stevens, who is one of the producers. And the other 2 are Don Burstein and Ben Fiore. But yeah, Brian Skiba, prior to this, he directed a bunch of stuff, like cheap Hallmark original movies. Wow, what a shocker. Did some other direct-to-video or direct-to-streaming crap, like Rotten Tail. And he's still directing. Like, he's got 2 more projects on the way. And I'm like, wow, great. You got directors who are genuinely talented, who never get a shot to direct again. And you got talentless hacks like Brian Skiba, who get multiple opportunities to direct films and do a bad job each and every time. It's not like this guy has, like, I think at least a dozen, if not more, films in his filmography. If at this point in his career he hasn't gotten better, then maybe it should just call it quits. Stop disgracing the realm of directing with your awful direction and your shitty writing. But yeah, the film Pursuit, which is such a generic title, by the way. Honestly, this should be called Pursuit of Unhappiness, because that's the only thing that you will get out of this movie. You will be unhappy if you decide to sit down and watch this piece of shit. So, yeah, it's directed by Brian Skiba, who does a bad job. His direction is about as subtle as a ski pole up the ass and an actual ski to the face. It's very, very typical, just bad direction from your average bad action movie, with the shootouts being shot in ways that aren't stylish, that aren't exciting. They're just bland and boring. Use of slow-mo in ways where it's just laughable, where the director thinks they're being artistic, but it just turns out to really make the sequences that they're in all the more insufferable to watch, because you're like, okay, look at this try-hard bullshit. You're putting slow-mo in a scene where a guy's fading backwards and shooting a gun like once, and for some reason a pile of money explodes too. That's kind of fitting, because that's exactly what that's exactly what this movie is. It's taking a pile of money and just putting a stick of dynamite in it and blowing it up, because it's a waste. But yeah, so you get bad slow-mo, bad shootout scenes, bad scenes that try to establish a setting, bad scenes to try to establish some sort of drama, bad scenes to try to establish some sort of suspense or tension. It's just terrible. Bad crap, just garbage direction, and it's also bad because of the fact that the director doesn't really get a single good performance out of anyone in the entire fucking cast. You have Emile Hirsch, who sounds like he's drunk or on drugs, some heavy painkillers throughout the movie because he's just fucking out of it. Then you have, John Cusack, and he's just slumming it and just taking a paycheck. You got Jake Manley, who comes across as believable in the role of a detective named Mike Breslin, as one of the co-stars of Boy Meets World, involved in an action movie as the lead. You got William Katt, who plays Tay Biggs, some corrupt cop who's on the take, or no, actually, I think he's a cop. Either way, I don't really care. There's so many. This is another one of those movies where there's always different characters, but like you don't give a crap about any of them. So it just feels like it's a waste of writing space. Oh, we have all these characters. Why? Why does this movie need like 50 million characters in it and multiple different subplots for a film called Pursuit? So yeah, bad direction on pretty much every level. The writing is also abysmal and just atrocious. This script sucks. Um I really did not care one bit about this plot. And even if I did about this plot of this master hacker played by Emile Hirsch, Rick Calloway, and him trying to find the people who kidnapped or took his wife, it's all pointless by the end because his wife is already dead. So what is even the point of any of it? And it doesn't even feel like there's any weight to things because of the fact that the reveal is that his wife was dead the entire time. And then on top of that, he does all this stuff where he's running away from the law and he's shooting innocent people and he's doing all this shit and he just gets away with it because he has a kid. His dad, who's played by John Cusack, he gets away with it too. John Calloway, who's also some other drug dealer or drug kingpin or some shit, and he never gets any sort of comeuppance. There's this whole uh, subplot or multiple series of subplots with these different cops, but they feel completely fucking pointless. So yeah, you have this cop named Mike, and then you have this other cop who is his partner, who is this big, tall, giant black man. So are they trying to recreate Hightower from Police Academy with this casting? So you have this cop named John D. Simone, which the guy acts tough, but then dies like halfway through the movie. Gets replaced by this female cop named Zoe. And all this is all happening, and there's this whole stuff with this guy named Diego, and this other guy named Biggs, and then there's these other kids, this guy, and then there's this other like dude named Dodge, who's like trying to go after people and trying to like get involved in some sort of violence or something. I think there's some other guy named James. Actually, his name is Jesus. Yeah, as in Jesus Christ, this film sucks. But yeah, there's all this stuff going on. There's people who are in pursuit of the lead, Rick Calloway, and I think they work for the same people that kidnapped and killed his wife. But like, it's just I just don't care about any of it. There's barely enough of a plot here for even like 15 minutes, and they stretch it out for an hour and a half, and it is so hard to sit through. It's so boring. It's not exciting, despite the fact that there are lots of shootouts and fights in it, and maybe a car chase or two, because there's no stakes and there's no weight to anything, because you don't care. So yeah, that's the screenwriter's job, is to make you care about the plot, to care about these characters, to care about what happens next. And I was so bored by it all that when my cat decided to get on my lap and start blocking the screen, I was like, whatever. It's not like I'm really missing anything. So I was like, okay, Olympus, thank you. It's like the cat even knew how bad this movie was and was trying to save me from it. So, oh man. So yeah, four people. You had four people. This is the best you could come up with four writers. Give me a fucking break. So yeah, four writers to just do a fatal four way and just kill the film. And then you have the cast, which is headlined, if you really want to use that term. Emile Hirsch as Rick Calloway, who looks like he's trying to be like Post Malone or some shit with all the face tattoos. I have expected him to try to start dropping some bars, start rapping, but thankfully that didn't happen because that would just make this bad movie even worse. So you have this Rick Calloway character played by Emile Hirsch, who's just miscast. He spends the majority of the movie with these face tattoos and talking out of one side of his mouth, like he had dental surgery or some shit. And maybe that's why he was so comatose, is because he just got out of dental surgery. Like they he gave so little of a shit about his role in this movie that he went and got his wisdom teeth removed before he started shooting scenes for the movie. Oh man, Emile Hirsch is just horrible in this. John Cusack isn't much better as his dad, John. Just a typical, I'm just doing this for the paycheck. Where is my money kind of performance. What happened to John Cusack, man? I mean, he has not aged well. I don't know if he's partying too hard, he's drinking too much. I don't know what it is. He's almost completely unrecognizable at this point with his wild, crazy hair and just the state of him. It looks like he's just not in a good place. I could be wrong, could just be first impressions, but it just looks like he's not happy. And I mean I can't blame him, for not being happy with getting roles like this, but at this point, John, you've made so many movies and you've probably made enough money. Can't you just retire with some dignity instead of doing this embarrassing shit where you just show up and half-ass your lines and spend more time spiking your hair than you do on your acting? Jake Manley, who might as well call him Manlet, because that's really what he is. He's a manlet. He's not a big manly, action hero. He's a fucking manlet. He looks like he's 5 foot. he looks like he looks like he would be like Rick Moranis in Spaceballs, where he would try to come after you. You just put your hand on his head, and he'd just be swinging wildly at you like a toddler. William Katt. This is definitely a long ways away from House or The Greatest American Hero. And the rest of the cast, I mean, you've got Elizabeth Faith Ludlow, had no faith in her performance whatsoever. Cardboard, flat, wooden. Uh, Andrew Stevens, definitely not some of his best work. The Nick Benjamin as William Dodge. I like to dodge his bad acting. I definitely don't want to. I have no desire to see him act again after seeing this movie. And then of course you got David Irving, who I want to mention because David Irving, who plays the tall African American partner of the manlet, uh, who gets shot like halfway through the movie. I want to mention him because he's a former Dallas Cowboy. And I'm a Cowboys fan. So I saw the name in the credits and I'm like, is that the same David Irving I'm thinking of? And then when I was watching the movie, I'm like, yeah, it is. It's that David Irving. Uh, it was kind of fun to see him act, but once I saw him act, then it wasn't fun anymore. Because his acting was about as much fun as getting sacked by David Irving. Um, so so yeah, bad performance. He has no screen presence. Um, no wonder nobody's cast him since this movie, for good reason. So yeah, I really don't know what else to say about this movie. I mean, why would I mention other technical elements like the editing by Brady Hallengren or the cinematography? It doesn't even list a cinematographer on Wikipedia, which is fine. We maybe the cinematographer who worked on this movie is like, you know what, I don't want my name to be on this piece of shit. So just leave me anonymous. But yeah, the editing, I mean, Brady, you did a bad job. I'm pretty sure Tom Brady could probably do a better job editing this movie than you. There are so many different scenes in this film that are just edited so badly, so piss poorly. It's unbelievable. It just makes it incredibly hard to follow. Hey, this film is so bad, my light gave up. My light gave up on this movie. I don't blame. Even electronics are like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I don't wanna. I don't wanna. I don't wanna work anymore. Because you're talking about Pursuit. But yeah. Bad editing. It's 97 minutes, and it feels like it's forever in multiple days or ages, because there's no investment in anything. You don't like the characters, you don't like the plot, you don't care. And I would like to know what film Julian Roman of MovieWeb saw to give it such a positive review. He said, Pursuit is a bloody and twisted pulp actioneer with an insane body count. I'm like, the insane body count? It's not that high of a body count. It's not Commando high. The film has a spectacularly convoluted plot, but keeps the adrenaline pumping with gritty action scenes. What? How does it keep anything going? The action scenes aren't really that gritty, and they're not really that adrenaline pumping. So what the hell are you talking about, Julian Roman? Is that even a real critic? Was that just one of the writers of the movie that just used a pseudonym and wrote a positive review of this piece of shit? It gets a 2.8 on IMDb for a reason, folks. So I really don't know what else to say about the movie. I put more effort into my review of this movie than all four writers did into writing this. So thanks for watching my rant on Pursuit, and until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.